It's an Android. Open source, all the way. Sorry if you like Apple. So this is going to take. I'm really sorry.
This is where you do fancy pat.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't even have like some clever haiku to fill the time. Like Jamal, sorry about that. Okay, so I'm writing this poem, a book-length poem, and I've been working on it for about 6 months now. And I put it down for a little bit, and I've come back to it, and I'm realizing that it's nowhere near being finished. It's from a prompt that I got at a workshop that was for one small poem, and for smaller poem, and now I've turned it into 4 really long poems with prelude. This is the poem that Luke was talking about. I am rancid milk on a blue turntable, spinning too many memories of things I'm unsure really happened, crossfaded into truer memories. Earliest memories of closet covered head to toe in Vaseline, alien lights shining through windows at 2 or 3, vampires beneath basement stairs at 4, long before fascinations turned silver screen obsession and teen desires to become bloodthirsty demigod. Her and I, naked in hotel shower at 5, still not sure whether explanations jive, torn pages of recurring nightmares, neighbors' faces melting after asking them who I am. Kingdoms of underwater shopping malls sliding under show cars to avoid detection by silent stalking suits, unable to run fast enough to escape, angular hands grasping collars, broken beaked herons speaking unintelligible warnings, liver being eaten by crows, so many dead birds scattered at precise intervals along centuries abandoned streets like dried out Poseidons, tridents gleaming in the midday noon, ex-girlfriends shooting me in the head, waking in cold sweat. Each of these recurring death sentences typing themselves out as imminent endings between periods spanning every uttered unkind word, every slight slander and solemn admission that I am the farthest thing from perfect that I can comprehend. All my innocence boiled and tempered like faults in need of purifying, and something about sins of fathers being reinvented by sons. I once heard the best thing to do is to approach the world with a child's mind. Free yourself from the conventions of all of your learned behavior and attempt to return to innocence. That all of art should be an attempt to return to the simplest state of being free. It always struck me as supremely odd, because my childhood memories always seemed so fantastically inaccurate. My child's mind distorted time and place and distance. Meters became miles, minutes, days, years like moments centered around street signs, like some sort of madness stripping away the weight of subjects and schoolmates. I mean, the year I wrote about the Battle of Gettysburg could have been a metaphor for the year I found myself trying to find hope through open windows, and how in 13 minuscule years it had already seemed I had overstayed my welcome. How the summer I lived on a mattress on a floor in North Braddock translated into my adult hatred of Billy Joel, and even now, after recognizing it, and all of my attempts to reconcile my negative attachments, still rock and roll to me continues to be the soundtrack to every memory of my parents' divorce. Names and dates erasing themselves only to reappear as similes written in queer correlation to misplaced neighborhoods summoned by inconvenient memories. Their recollections spinning through the glitchy calculus of memory like code-switching schizophrenics reinterpreting the poetry of physics in parallel dimensions, manifested in a single sentence, scripted in glyphs comprised of sickles and scythes, translated in an ancient dialect of dreams. And it was written that at the dawn of man's defiance of the gods, he would be twisted into the clay of his own confusion, forever bound into his own inadequate comprehension. And so it seems I am adrift, a grim midshipman without captain or bosun, overriding the perfection of my own innocence, forcing foreign order upon my sovereign mind, sacrificing personal perspective for greater good. But which is the greater madness? To rail against an order imposed by forces outside my control, or to knowingly relinquish the very agency that makes me human and thus succumb to the desire to fit in? And so man created language and gods, magic, souls and afterlives, gravity and the law of conservation of energy, politics and party lines, papyrus, the printing press, telephones and gadgets, food shortages and unemployment, anarchy and logic, philosophy and democracy, mathematics and dancing, television and computers, indoctrination and 100 million useless laws in science, all to explain the unexplainable and enforce the order we forced upon ourselves. Dear God, how we love making the same mistakes so we can wallow in their calming discomfort. And I wonder if the Bible actually got it right. And all that knowledge wasn't just the thing that fucked us all up in the first place. Feeling like an animal caught in a rusty trap, chewing its way out only to be shot seconds later. Snapping the will to survive like a phantom limb, history consistently regurgitating itself. Why does the past always seem to catch up? Why am I a horrible liar when it's least important and not struggle with the truth when it comes to matters of life and death? And on my worst days, a voice so much my own I can scarcely distinguish it from reality asks me, what are you still doing here? Your friends are all famous and have perfect lives, but you're still a loser. Weren't you going to be somebody? Change the world, start a revolution, overthrow the government, now look at you. Just another employee addicted to stuff, collecting paychecks and benefits, hoping for a decent retirement that won't leave you toothless and threadbare. What happened? Why don't you work harder, play harder, write harder? Why don't you do the things that make you happy? Why do you keep running from who you are? Why are you always trying to convince yourself that you can't be happy unless you're attending to your own death in the most honest ways? Why am I so frightened to mistake and die and live when all I want is a moment where I'm not afraid? Where I don't feel disconnected, where I don't feel like the sun that we orbit on this crowded little rock was only built to burn us alive, when all I want to do is live like I'm a child, innocent and free, without the clutter of the mothers and fathers and cities and voices all living inside me. And all I want to be is my own author, writing my own life, one word